So, hope you can see me. This is the Peugeot Traveller 180 Allure in standard length, and I'll just reverse that. Car coming. I go. He wants me to go. And I just wanted to make a few points to supplement the excellent review from Ben Hopkins, which was bloody long and bloody useful. And it was bloody useful because without it, I would never have considered buying this car. In fact, we were looking for a car that had the space for myself, my family, which is not huge, just 2 children, but they're both under 3. One is 7 months now, and one is 2.5. And we could have easily fitted them into our other car, which is a Skoda Yeti, when we do. But we like to camp as well, and we frequently just run out of space, even with roof boxes and stuff. And it just seemed like the most sensible solution was a large sort of van-like car. We went out to have a look at a Mercedes V-Class, which is ludicrously expensive, but very, very nice. Very nicely appointed inside. Nicer than this, but then it is an extra 15 grand over the price of this, and not worth the money. We went to look at a Ford Tourneo, and it was okay. I mean, it's a bit sort of past it now, but on the other hand, it drives better than this. It does have a nicer chassis, not that there's much to talk about in terms of chassis. So for the background noise, I've just taken our house rabbit to the vet to have his booster injections for Mixie, and we're just taking him home nice and gently. Aren't we, Spot? So the Tourneo was fine. We would have bought it because it was by far the cheapest option for the one that we found. And we eventually found a dealer that had one of these in the showroom that was looking to sell one, but Peugeot just don't have, it would seem, any demonstrators, certainly not where we are in the West Country. Tried all the different dealerships in and around the West Country, and it's just like, no, we don't stock that car. So we went to just have a look at one in a showroom, and on the basis of Ben's review, and I mean, it's a van, it's not going to drive like a car, so the driving experience isn't something that you would particularly judge this car on. We decided to buy one, and here we are, and I'm quite happy with it. It certainly survived 2 major camping trips, although unsurprisingly, even with the rear seats out, we filled it right to the gunnels with camping equipment, 2 children in rear-facing car seats and my wife, and there was space in the passenger seat, but we sort of put a few things in there. There was more room in it, but I was quite surprised. I guess you just expand to fill up the available space. So, anyway, to add to Ben's review, there's a few points I wanted to make about this car. It is nice, it is worth the money, it is worth buying if you have a need for that much space and a van type car. It's quite comfortable. It does have lots of toys which are nice and helpful. I'm used to driving regular cars, and it drives like a sort of hybrid between a car and a van, and my wife finds it far more car-like to drive than the V-Class, which we test drove, and she didn't actually test drive the Ford. I remember rightly, I think she just let me test drive it, but sat there and felt it was okay. I would probably be doing most of the driving anyway. So I'll just list out a few negative points. First of all, there's no grab handles to get in. And when I picked up my mum, who's 83, the other day, and she's quite spry, but she was kind of going, oh, and I had to get behind her and sort of push her to get her into the car. And there's nothing to grab onto, which is a bit of an omission, really. You would expect with a car that's this high off the ground that they would do something about that, and just have something useful to help put yourself in. You can get a little device that sort of hooks in to the latch where the door connects to the A-pillars here, and that you can use that to lever up. I'm likely to be picking my mum up very frequently, so I'm probably not going to invest in one of those, but I would have liked to have had a grab handle. It would have made her experience in this car a bit less negative, because she's quite critical. The car drives quite, it's not really the sort of car that you would enjoy hustling, although it can be hustled. You can go quite fast in this car. This particular one has all-weather tyres on it, or I should say all-season tyres, and they look like they've got mud and snow tread patterns on, which I like. I'm very happy that they came with that, or this one came with that, because I live out in the country, I don't know if you can see the background here, but I'm driving through North Devon. Summer, technically, and there's rain coming down, and the tractors come out, there's mud all over the roads, and where I live, it's a single track road, and it just, I know that four-wheel drive is fine. Our Yeti has four-wheel drive, but it also comes shod with low-profile tyres, because that's what Volkswagen and Skoda do, and they don't give you an option to specify all weather, mud and snow, or whatever. And as a result, four-wheel drive's all very well, but when you're going downhill, if you start skidding, it doesn't matter how many wheel drive you've got, you're going to keep skidding unless your tyres are the right tyres. And these tyres are therefore going to be safer, and my children are going to be safer. Another decision point for me was you look at the Ford Tourneo and indeed the V-Class, and their safety features are not as obvious to sort of differentiate them from this one, where it's very clearly Euro NCAP 5-star, and it's got the curtain airbags and airbags everywhere, and it's got the driver fatigue awareness thingy. It's got the lane departure warnings. It has popped up on a few occasions saying you're getting too close to the car in front, and I was braking, but you know, I appreciate a few little bits and pieces that just kind of wake you up a bit. I can understand how that makes you a safer driver, and my children's safety is paramount. So very happy with all of those. We didn't get those in the Ford. Ford dealership didn't really know anything about the safety features of it, and they've got a bit of a problem there because Tourneo is sort of sold through the van and channel of Ford, and not through the car channel of Ford. So they're not they're you know, dealing with rookies and what have you. And when a family comes in to look at something like a Tourneo, at least where I went, they were all kind of confused and not quite sure how to sell to you, and not quite sure how to ask the questions you'd be asking that are about you and your family and your needs, rather than I've got to move these refrigerators and colour TVs and so on. What I like about it is actually, everything is okay. Everything is quite nice, and I think it's probably worth the money. The various toys that it has, the sort of sat nav and sat nav works well. It's fine. A little slow, surprisingly, to come up with addresses and things, but it's fine. And the radio is fine. The air conditioning unit is fine. Fuel economy at the moment, I've only done 1,000 miles in this car, and fuel economy is sort of a bit below what I was expecting, but then the engine's probably quite tight still. And I am probably driving this faster than you would expect to drive a car of this nature. Revving the engine a bit more and using a bit more fuel. But I'm getting about high 30s, and I was expecting low 40s really for this car. If I was driving the same speed as my Yeti, which is also 2-litre turbo diesel with less horsepower, 140, this is 180, then I'd be getting in the low 50s. And that's with the four-wheel drive as well, which adds weight to the Yeti and makes it less fuel efficient. So I didn't expect the Yeti to be a particularly fuel efficient car, but compared to this, it's obviously better. And maybe if I pay more attention to my driving style with this, I will just eke out a few mpg and get over the 40 barrier, and as the engine runs in, maybe just get over the 40 barrier. So there we go. What else? I like all the 12-volt socket things. I don't like the gearbox thingy. I don't like that you've got to twist a little dial. I prefer a lever of some description. I mean, technically, what we're doing is saying go forward, go backwards, or park. So I could understand you could have push buttons, really. What I like to do is when I'm coasting, there's lots of hills here, just been down a big one, I tend to want to put the car into neutral, just to sort of hyper mile a little bit. It does make a very slight difference to the fuel economy, because I can see the difference. I've practiced a few times just saying, right, I'm going to put the car into neutral and coast, and then put it back into drive, and you just eke out a few more mpg, and it keeps me awake when I'm driving as well, because I'm focused on doing the driving, the skills of driving, changing the gearbox, putting it back into drive or whatever. It's not so easy to do with this. Incidentally, the latest Skodas, not my Yeti, but the latest ones, and presumably Volkswagens as well, with their GSG gearboxes, if you put them into eco mode, it recognises when you're off the throttle and you're coasting, and it just disengages the gearbox and does the same thing. So the engine revs drop down to the lowest, it's got less frictional losses, it just saves a bit of fuel. And I sort of expected that in this car, but it doesn't do that. It doesn't have an eco mode. It just is what it is. Anything else I can say? Not really. Thank you, Ben, for a fantastic review. Goes over everything in the car, and anybody who wants to buy one should probably consider one in preference to the Volkswagen Caravelle or Traveller. Everyone's got them around here in North Devon because they're all surfers, and every surfer has to have one. But my local dealer in Exeter wasn't interested in selling to me. Tried many times to get hold of a demonstrator, and phoned up and said, can I have a demonstration? And they would go away and not phone me back. And I gave up. I went round to have a look at one, and I thought, it's the same price as a V-Class, but it's not as nice as a V-Class. New one anyway. There are loads of second-hand ones, and they're a really competent car, I'm sure, but if the dealers aren't interested in selling because everyone's got one, I thought, well, why not be a bit different and just get the Peugeot? And I would encourage you to consider the same. Alright, thanks Ben.